So for me, if there's something that's hurt present day MMA, while I enjoy this Saturday afternoon on a cup of tea, I think the fact that there isn't a viable number two or a number one ahead of the UFC, I think that has hurt MMA in a lot of ways. Not so much the UFC in the fact that it's a promoter's market, it's great for them, they can charge and pay whatever they want because there's really no viable number twos anymore. But I do think that one of the things that the UFC benefited from in terms of booming their business was the fact that there was Pride, and Pride was number one, and Pride had superstars. And yes, Fedor didn't make his way down there, but you had Nogueira, you had Heath Herring, you had Josh Barnett, you had Little Nog, you had Rampage, you had Shogun, you had Vanderlei Silva, you had Zakaraba. And what was the dream fight? Everyone wanted to see Vanderlei Silva and Chuck Liddell when both of them were champions, to have the undisputed champion finally determined. And granted, it didn't happen with both belts on the line. It happened when both of them had lost their titles. But it was still a huge fight for the UFC, and it was a dream fight that they had. And I don't feel like with the current MMA landscape as it is right now, that we're getting that. And I also think it was something that was glossed over. Yes, the Ultimate Fighter was fantastic for their business, but the fact that they had other promotions out there that were building stars that they were able to Vince McMahon style raid, they benefited from. The UFC made a lot of money off of anything that was Pride versus UFC for at least another 5 years. So, like, if you check the archives, just have a look, and you look at what a lot of those guys done. I mean, you had Shogun over there, and you had, he took a while to get going, but when he really got going, he was the champion. You had Anderson Silva, need I say more? You had a lot of guys over there that brought a lot of just extra life, an extra shot in the arm. It was the same when you had Elite XC. Well, we'll talk about the night that went under, but not in this video. But the point is, Jake Shields was built up through Elite XC into Strikeforce, and then by the time he came, he was a number one contender for the St. Pierre fight, and it built up a huge live gate record in Canada at the time. Nick Diaz was known by us diehards, but Nick Diaz's name was built up even more when he was in Pride, and Elite XC, and Strikeforce. So by the time he made it to the UFC, people wanted to see the undisputed welterweight championship in terms of Strikeforce versus UFC, George versus Nick. They benefited off of that. And with the current landscape right now, it's just not the same. Yeah, it's good to see Patricio Pitbull down there, and it's good to see Aaron Pico down there, but it just doesn't pop in the same way. Am I the only one that feels like that? Maybe it's me, or maybe it's just an old man yelling at the clouds. But comment down below, do you think that's one thing that has hurt MMA, but probably benefited the UFC? Comment down below, let me know. I don't think that last sentence made any sense.